issue. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Velocity Bank Network 121 2006 11 a.m. training and update call. This call is going to be a lot like yesterday's. We made a lot of headway. We are adjusting some logic, but what I'm looking for today is a little more feedback from some people in regards to some other thoughts that have come down the last couple of days, going into the end of last week, just to see how the community in general. And again, I appreciate if you're on here, if you filled out the form to get your transfers going back to you. I appreciate all you guys that have been here and looking to head out and do something else. We are going through those, and we will reach out. There are probably about 15 so far that I've seen that we're trying to find the original proof. And again, very important. Put the screenshot in there. It makes it very easy for us to be able to find that. But again, we don't want to hold you back from the things that you want to do and trying to accommodate you with getting it back in the way that you've asked to get it back. It's taken a little bit of work on our part. That's why the quicker we get those in and done, the quicker we can reestablish our daily operating procedure. But again, we want to get all that done ahead of time before we re-engage. So, and the AI is still not quite there. I was on for about hour and 15 minutes going through, and some of you guys we've put into our testing. So you can just ignore what you see back there. But there are still some things that we need to utilize live people to do some of the testing in order to not just have, I guess you'd call it, accounts that we're making up just to test. It's we want to we want to look at people that have been in the portal already versus people that may have just signed up, all those things. So again, just today's call is or Zoom is going to be more geared around some additional feedback that we're looking for to carry on to what we've been hearing. And again, the amount of people that want to transfer out, we're good with that. Again, we want the right people here in order to make this better than what it's been up to this point. So, and what do I mean by that? It's very simple. We figured out along the way here that waiting didn't work, right? So number 62, those early people that in that first 300 they got paid, they were pretty excited. But then when they saw how long it was going to be before they get again, unless we did massive recruiting, and just didn't quite work. Then we went to that 2-to-1 scenario within the quantum. But again, saw the same thing, even though it was a 2-to-1. It when we got to 400, you had to be at 799 and 800 before. So again, not having the amount of speed in order to make that super successful. We made that last gyration, which now takes the speed out, but it's the quality of the person now that we're looking for, right? So what does that mean? Well, it means the right people that are here that see it working that are then going to tell other people, right? That's when I say quality of the people. We don't have a track record for us to say, hey, this thing's going to work great. We just don't, right? So the quality of that person needs to be one of two people. It needs to either be the person that, hey, I just want to be part of this community because I want to accumulate USDT at whatever gyration that is, but I want it on a regular basis. And I want to be able to utilize that on my Bankus card to utilize this lifestyle of digital. Or I want to be able to take that and put it into some of these other USDT programs that can leverage the levels of people coming in to the community. So those are kind of the traits of that one side. But the other side is going to be the ones that look at this, and this kind of came from yesterday, look at this and say, hey, I like the idea that, hey, because I either had the vision right out of the gate to find two people, or over time, as I find two people, all my all I really need to do in order to maximize what we're doing on a daily basis is eventually help bring those two people into the community, even though early on I'm not bringing those people in right in the beginning. And then the last piece of that is always going to be having that feeder program, but we need the feeder program to move faster based on all the feedback that we're getting from lots of people. So, again, the people that are exiting, we appreciate you being here. We appreciate the time that you put in, and maybe you'll come back later, maybe you won't. But the people that are here, we want to build this core infrastructure that just gets bigger and bigger with the philosophy of just those two people that are tied to you, not two positions or two slots like what we tried to do in the priority world early on. It's more about now, it's about, okay, I 100% understand the philosophy here. The philosophy is this: if there's two people that are tied to my grid, right? That means my grid is going to get $1,000 sent from one person, $1,000 sent from the other person. And those $2,000 are going to work to give me a reward on certain days. And on every other day, it's going to give me the ability to hold that grid so that the next day, those same two people, where that same activity is happening for them with their two people, is always pushing that two back up to that grid that you've become. So in all these last couple of weeks of trying to get it right from a logic standpoint, what we figured out yesterday was that, hey, does it really matter when I bring those two people in for it to make sense that in the big picture, the community's growing because I did eventually invite two people in, or even if I never bring two people in, um, I'm always taking one of my rewards and basically, for all intents and purposes, depositing it forward to somebody who's coming in from our feeder program that started at that $60 number, right? So, so what I want to do today on this discussion, and I'm going to leave the recording on for a little bit here, in this discussion period, is kind of get a little bit of feedback, and we're going to do this in a very simple way to make sure that the feedback that we're getting is on point with what I'm talking about right now, right? So, what I'm looking for right now, and we're going to use the chat to do this, and then if you jump in the chat and you want to be heard, I'll ask you to be heard. Okay. So, so here is what our infrastructure looks like right now. Okay. Over the next few days, we're going to eliminate probably roughly somewhere between 200 and 300 people based on where the number is right now. All people that have asked to get their funds back, which is, like I said, which is fine. It didn't work the way that they wanted it, and we'd rather get them taken care of and move them on so that they're not delaying what it is that we're trying to accomplish here. So my answer is, or my question, first question, and this come up from lots of people sending me DMs or people that have asked questions to customer service, pushing that back to me. So, and again, if you've got a comment that you want to put in to continue the path of what I'm talking about, then I'll ask you to put in there, yes, I have something I want to say. So understand, here is what the community is now. We have the Velocity Bridge program, right? That's somebody who has $60, which we're actually going to change that to $100. But everybody that's at 60 is grandfathered in. So we'll have, you can come in for 100, right? Um, but if you 10x that to 1,000, you are immediately put in the bridge and based on the logic can start earning those daily rewards. But what we don't want to do is have it where right now one thought process is, hey, I can come in for free, which is what we've done up to this point. But so many of those people have not responded to us at all, and they're tying up all kinds of priority positions. So again, we're compressing all that out because number one, they probably jumped in thinking it was going to be a great idea. Nothing happened. They didn't hear from anybody. They're busy doing other things, right? So what we're going to do is talk about the simplicity of what we are now. What we are is very simple. It's a two person grid. If you're in a grid and you put your two people in, right, in the grid, that means those will push up every day based on the logic that we have in place, right? So anybody that wants to chime in right now, understanding that is the logic. We're not changing the logic in any way. The only thing that we are shifting, right, is that feeder program starts with 100. It works itself to 1,000, puts the person on the feeder into one of the using the pool funds to get in. So that is important for everybody to understand that that's where that goes, right? Then on the other side of that, we have, hey, I'm directly ready to come in. One of two things. I'm either coming in with additional people, which two can count toward my grid, or I don't have people right now, but I have the $1,000, and I'm going to come in a line that will continue to fill as people need their two, right? So it doesn't matter who the two are based on our conversation yesterday. What matters is when you have two, it eliminates that seventh reward every time we go through seven, going back to the pool to bring people in from the feeder program. So whether you have them today or whether you have them in a week, whether you have them in a month, that's going to be on you. So the feedback I'm looking for is that the simple understanding that we've simplified it to, hey, I get one of two positions And when I'm in that position, that then has me in one of two positions of somebody else. And that's all it is. There is no genealogy. There is no this person's five down, this person's 10 down. The logic is looking at one thing now, one thing only. It's looking at are those two positions paid for at 859 or not? If it's not, no rewards go up. If it is, then the rewards flow up. And then that those two people that are above you have the same scenario. Okay. So if somebody would like to chime in on that, put your name in here and then I'll pull you up on the so you can speak. All right. Nobody has, nobody wants to speak. Okay, that's fine. Again, just putting it out there this morning, um, based on the feedback that we're getting, that I'm getting, to see if any other people had any other thought processes, as we move away from the old and move to the new. Okay, we got Nicole. Nicola would like to. Monica would like to. Okay, perfect. Let's start with Nicola. All right. Again, I appreciate anybody that has any feedback whatsoever on this topic. So please feel free to put your name in there and I will call on you. Okay, Nicole, you should be unmuted.
Hi, morning, Bill.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm
So,
doing really well because I feel like we're getting rid we're getting closer to where we want to be, but at the same time, I want some feedback that number one is positive to where we've come from to where we're going, but more than that, if there's something that we're missing that we need to address, I want to make sure it's addressed.
okay. So I'm asking first for a point of clarity, and then
Yes.
I probably can, analyze to
Yes.
see if there's something we're missing or, that sort of thing. But
Perfect.
to understand, are we now eliminating the standard line? And the priority is now going to $100, which will be a feeder for the bridge. Am I understanding that correctly, or am I missing something in there?
Yeah, so the wait list, which you know is standard, we switched that to wait list.
Hmm.
We're totally 100% eliminating that from
Okay.
the logic. And
Okay.
again, it's more from looking at the data and seeing that so many of those people right now have taken up space in the AI portal and they don't respond to emails, they don't respond to, they're not on Discord. And we just, I just feel like from the feedback that I got from the community, is that um, that's more of a something that if we want to do that for somebody, we can give them the $100. That's basically what I'm getting from the community. So,
Okay, right. And I agree with that, Bill. Actually, that I had made that suggestion to you some time ago that
okay.
we eliminate standard and just basically keep the priority, well, yeah, priority and the bridge, right? And
Yes.
create something like
Which,
that. So yeah, and I think it simplifies it for the administration. It also simplifies it for the community. Now, my next question is you said it'll be $100. So everybody now who's in priority will then have to put in another $40 to make it
no,
that 100?
no. They'll be
No?
grandfathered in. Everybody's grandfathered in. Nobody puts any, nobody from the 60 has to go to high. But going forward, it'll be 100.
Okay. Now, the second question I wanted to ask when you said, simplifying it in the bridge,
Yes.
if you come in with two persons and they're paid for, you get paid, every day 8.59. Now, again, that only works if then those two persons also have their two people, persons to push up, correct?
Correct, correct. So it's a let it's the domino effect when they come in, right?
Mm-hmm.
The more people coming in, right? It's always making sure that the two below have $1,000, right?
Correct.
Because people aren't going to put in another thousand. So the domino effect works the other way as well. So
Mm-hmm.
let's just use a simple number. If there were 100 people right now that all had their two, right? That would mean, right? That would mean those those working its way up, right, are all every day that day everybody's getting paid the $1,000. Thousand goes to the next day in your reentry, and $1,000 goes to the whatever the logic is on that side. So that is the only way that this model works, where it's not like what quantum was, where the higher we get, the longer it takes to get paid, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here it's the 2 to 1, but it's really just two people going into a grid, and then the next two people going into a grid, the next two people. So who those two people are doesn't matter anymore. Where in the beginning I said that those are your most important, put two people. But again, if those two people are not bringing people in, that it really makes it made for more of a where people then wanted the phone number, they wanted the email address so they could, say, hey, I might have somebody to put under them. So in this scenario, what we've done is we've said, okay, the benefit of getting two, right, is you're going to um, pick up that seventh reward instead of that seventh reward going to the pool. But you don't need those two immediately because it's just going to fill the grid, um, the two to the grid each and every day. So so you don't have to sit there going, oh, I need to make sure my two are in there. So it's just going to go a left, a right, a left, a right, a left, a right every day. So the longer it goes on, the more secure your spot is, your daily payout is, versus you having to track it and figure it out, right? So ask your question around that scenario, that it's doesn't matter who the two are. It just matters that
Mm-hmm.
you have a grid with two people in it that have paid $1,000 at least one time, right? And they are ready to go, and either recruit or be a positive person in the community. It could go either way. The
Okay.
balance act is I lose my seventh reward if I'm not if I don't eventually bring two people in. If I do bring two people in, then I'm only losing the feeder program fifth reward.
Okay. So is this then eliminating the need for groups if we're just going with the,
100%. 100%.
okay.
And
Okay.
we've never really needed groups,
Right.
but it it got in people's minds, and it might have just been the way I explained it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that those two positions were so important. But in the end, when you look at all the data over the last couple of weeks now, all the data says the same thing, that it's not about it's kind of the opposite of what we've been doing, where the longevity of two people coming in regularly um, makes it stronger, versus waiting until 62 people have come in and then, oh, hey, I get paid, right? So instead now I'm getting paid along the way each day, because the the we're getting stronger and stronger. Now, if we stop one day, let's say we have 1,000 people and those payouts would be happening. And if we stop putting people in, the domino effect would go back up, right? Because the last person that came in, if they don't bring two people in, right, they don't have $1,000 to give to the one before. So the next day, the one that was above them, they're not going to have the $1,000 because the two people below didn't send the 2,000 up, right? So the domino effect will come back up, which is the whole reason that we have the feeder program. The feeder program is what will always have not you buying another position, but people coming in and being part of the process because they know people that we don't know. And the faster the community grows, the stronger the if you want to call it the two position line becomes. So it's about longevity is about always driving people to the idea that, hey, always make sure you find two people somewhere along the way, whether they got to come through the feeder program or whether they come direct to you, right in the beginning. That's the equation that yesterday's activity figured out that, hey, who cares when they come in? We don't need to put that pressure on somebody that, hey, I need those tube in that first 24-hour period. Now it's, hey, we've got people coming in and we're just going left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Go ahead. Nicole. Oh, did you get muted again? Hang on a minute. I don't know why that does that. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. All right. So that it seems to make sense. So my next question is for those persons who come in with no one and they're bringing in persons down the road, right? What is the logic for the AI in terms of that daily placement of placing persons from the feeder line underneath persons? How is that going to work? I mean, yeah.
So that doesn't change because it always goes left. It always goes left to right, but it's filling one at a time, right? So it's hey, you came in today, right? Or I came in. So I'm Bill, right? I
Hmm.
came in today. I'm gonna get the left filled today, right? And then the next day, I'm gonna get the right filled. So it just every day it's looking to say, okay, who needs to get their first one, who needs to get their second one, right? And it just does that every day, left to right, left to right. And then now instead, what you're doing is in your grid, you're being checked off as I brought two in or I didn't bring two in. Once I do bring two in, then I get checked off as, hey, my two signed up, so I no longer lose or send that seventh reward to the pool because I brought two physical bodies into the stability, is what we'll call that. So
Okay.
so it's so it's always going to go left, right, first day the left, second day the right, and it's just unless we run out of people, right? Which would
Hmm.
mean that nobody's getting in the feeder program, right? And at that point, then we'd have to relook at and say, okay, how do we drive more people? But if we have stories of people saying, hey, I'm getting $1,000 in USDT put into my Bankus or into the peer-to-peer on a daily basis, it will drive people in. I mean, that's really what we're looking for is where somebody who doesn't want to learn about crypto, doesn't want to learn about all these. We got the 10 by 10 for those people. Those people can go to the 10 by 10. This is just somebody who, hey, I want to be part of a community that has figured out how to be fair. The guy at the top doesn't make all the money. It's everybody is at the top of their own grid. So that's how everybody makes that even amount of $1,000 each and
Okay.
every.
Okay. So I see, like what you said, at some point, because sorry, the priority line has a limited or a finite amount of people, right?
Yep.
So at some point it will run out. Yeah. You will have some persons who will talk to other people, right? But I
Hmm.
think maybe the vast majority might wait until they see that this is really working well.
Correct.
And and what I see is that maybe for the persons who have two, the first payment will be guaranteed, right? But again, that goes back to the community. Is that still like that? The first payment goes into the community?
Yeah, the first payout goes to the
See the
community
line?
to drive. Yeah, so when you get that second person added, right,
Mhm.
that $1,000 would go to the feed, basically bringing someone over from the feeder program. Um, that but that second payment, right? Because
Mhm.
once you have your two, you're going to get the reason the first goes is because you're going to get the two. It's going to happen. It's after the two that you could have a day where if two new people aren't coming in to that person three levels below, where you could have a day. So you're still getting it. Once the two are in there, you're going to get those first 2 days. You're going to get paid. Put it that way. That's the reason why we did it the way we did it. Is the first one push it over to the community because that's going to drive the community line faster, and then the second one goes, in that second 48 hour period. After 48 hours, you get the second one. So yeah,
Hmm.
nothing changes on that, but that will come either way. So I don't like to use the word guarantee, but if that first thousand is paid by those two people, that is good for those two. It ends up being two payouts, is what it's good for.
Okay. So Bill, I don't know, I'm just thinking, right? To simplify it even further, we had in the feeder line, we had the quantums who hadn't been paid, we had the quantums who paid a
Hmm.
thousand and
Hmm.
had re-entry. We have the 300s, right?
Hmm.
Um, why I'm just thinking again, just throwing it
Yeah,
out
go ahead.
there.
No, I want to. Yeah.
Start with, um, I mean, everybody was 1,000 in a grid as opposed to being in a feeder line, right? And you just create the grids with everybody you have right now in a team, right? Maybe the re-entries under persons, and then, that first 1,000 that's going into the feeder line to bring like the priority or the 300s, they will be placed under those persons. I'm just trying to make it like simple as opposed to so complex. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know if it makes sense. Just
No,
everybody.
I mean, everybody that is in is going to get re-entered, right? Once we're done, once the logic is 100% working. So there is not, it doesn't change anything that for the people that are in. Where the change comes in is the new people coming in. That's where the change comes in, right?
Mhm.
So once everybody that's already in, after we give back whatever we're giving back, right? Those people will all flow left to right, left to right. So um, that doesn't change. So it's not really complicated. It's, hey, you come in, you get your position within the grid of somebody else that paid before you, right? And that is the logic every day. The logic that logic doesn't change. 8:59, the AI looks to say, okay, you need someone on the left the first day, you need someone on the right the second day, and then so on and so forth, as long as there's people that are either coming in or they're in the feeder. The people coming in go first, the people in the feeder go second. So that's what fills the pipeline every day so that everybody is getting somebody added each day once we go through the group that's already here, because the group that's already here, we already know where that they'll all be tied in.
Mhm. Okay. So at some point, you may have persons who are not going to bring in two people. So it's just that continuously they'll just be giving up the first, the fifth, and the seventh. That's it.
Yeah, if you don't
But
bring
no
two in,
pressure.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you don't eventually bring two in, you're just yeah, all you're doing is giving up that. But that's the whole point of that first and the fifth. That covers the people that don't bring two by
Right.
more than it would need to be.
Right. And the seventh as well.
Yeah, so it gives us that. So we're still able to keep bringing people in through the feeder that have $100, right?
Mhm.
And hey, when this hits, you're good to go. Now, somebody over here asked a question in the thing about the quantum. Yeah, I mean, the quantum will continue to pay in the way that the quantum had paid. Yeah, it was anywhere from about 15 to 19 people, right, each day. But the problem was, right, the people that already had got paid, right, they were like, oh, it's been 2, 3 weeks already before I'm going to get paid again. So
Hmm.
do do we go back and say, okay, let's go back to the quantum and people? I mean, we were already at almost 2,000 at that point in time of because we had let the people come in with the 300s, but we needed to accumulate the velocity to do it, right? So that was where I was seeing the problem. The problem I was seeing is, yeah, the people, just like the people in the beginning with priority, they were excited because they got paid right away. But then it was forever before you're getting paid again. This is an actual way that the guy at the top doesn't make the money. Um, it is literally everybody is pulling their own weight, whether they're just in the community as someone that isn't bringing anybody in, but because of the 1 in 5, right? And then they're going to end up kicking in number 7. Um, it gives us a 3 to 1. We only need two, but it gives us three, right? So we need two for everybody, right? So the 1 in the 5 gives us the two. The 7 is what gives us the extra one to cover anything that got missed, right? So it's always pushing an extra. So instead of two people out of every time someone comes in, at least being brought in, now it's three people. So that's the key for sustainability is that you have more than what you need by at least a little bit. Where with the quantum, we had the sustainability based differently, um, but it just moved too slow. But what makes this strategically tougher is we can't make any mistakes in the payout reward because it happens every day, right? So one day of paying out, let's call it 100 grand, and if it didn't go to the right people, the it's all over because how are you going to make that up on the second day? You just
Yeah.
it's impossible to make it up because again, there's no money flowing anywhere other than to the two people, right? One's the
Right.
reentry, one's there. So
Mm.
by the third day, we'd have enough for the reentry if we screwed up for 100 grand. But by that third day, where there's no reentry funds, so there's nothing flowing up to anybody. That's the reason why I had to put this in a total stoppage until the logic was 100% right. Because somebody asked, well, why can't you even do it manually while you get that right? And the problem with doing it manually is, again, now you're counting on not the logic to make sure that everything's right. Now you're counting on a person to look at it, whether it's me, whoever it might be, saying, "Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure all these people were the right ones to get paid." So
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
had that runway that you have with the quantum, where when we were up to 300 and something, we know we're paying out 600 and something. So if a mistake would happen there, we could pull the reentry out, right? And say, hey, you shouldn't have got paid. Um, and that's the reason why we're pulling your reentry out. So you need to send that thousand back for your reentry because we made a mistake, right? So we had a runway there. We have absolutely no runway here. This
Yeah.
has got to be perfect from day one, or it will break as fast as we started. And I don't
Yeah.
want it to break. So that's why I'm using today as a feedback call to see if there's anything that we're missing in the simplicity. Because the simplicity is always, hey, you're and this would not work if we weren't in a decentralized scenario. So get that first thing got to be right. Because we're in a decentralized, we can take those two. One's the reentry, and one's the payout, and we don't need to complicate it by saying, okay, we're just going to do 500 a day, and the other 500 we're going to keep in the company. There's no company; it's just a community, so there's nowhere to keep that. So it has to be dollar for dollar in what we've built here.
Yeah. Well, Bill, I think you got part of the issue because you're going to eliminate the groups. And I think that takes away a lot of the issues that were occurring with, errors and persons here, there. So that's going to take away a lot of the issues. And probably that will also eliminate the persons getting incorrectly paid because AI is just, pacing it across. So that simplifies it. I have some other
Yeah.
questions, but I'm going to, shut off and
Okay.
let somebody else say something.
Thank you for your feedback, though. I really
Okay.
appreciate it.
No problem.
All right. Who's next here? Let's see. Uh, all right. Monique, let me get you. And any if anybody has anything they need addressed by, I mean, Paula and Rena are on here, so if you've got something with your portal or something that's not working right, you can chime back and forth with them in while we're having this discussion. Go ahead, Monique.
Good morning, Bill. I sent a message to you last week because I saw that we were experiencing some issues with people having integrity when it came to sending emails. So my
Yes.
message to you was, is there a way for those who have to have their emails sent in a live arena to do it in a private manner? And maybe because we're changing, we may not need this now with the emails, but just a way to protect our members.
Yes. Yes. There's a couple things we could do, right?
Okay.
So we're gonna we when you go re live again, I mean, there's
Hmm.
people that we're testing with, so those people, it's not going to look like that. So what we could do, um, we could have the logic switch it
Hmm.
switch it to where it does and you may have seen this before, and I don't know the exact wording, but what it could do is it could say, hey, I put the email in, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And it could say, hey, and it takes off like the last four digits. It's you still have the email in there because that's what we need to
Right.
make it in the background, but you don't see the whole email. I guess
Correct.
we could do that if you think that would be a
I think that would be great.
okay.
I think
Uh,
that would be great. And,
okay.
even on the live Zoom, I said, you can get a volunteer team. I'm willing to volunteer.
Okay.
If, your girls can't do it
Yep.
when we're on a Zoom, they can just private message their email and then we send it over to Paula and Raina, whatever that
Yep.
email is, just to keep the integrity of the group
Got it.
intact.
That's a great idea. No, I was concerned when I made that change to putting the other information in there, and sure enough, I had a lot of feedback about it. But I think you're 100% right. But I know there's a way for them to basically the email goes in. We know the email's right. and then it shows you part of the email as who your two are, because really there's no, with the way we're doing it now, need
Hmm.
for anybody to communicate back and forth
Okay,
except for your two,
correct.
because now, even though they're not going to be right below you necessarily, but knowing that you have those two and working with those two, because you know that the more people we bring in, the bigger the community gets, the stronger. Because really, what we're building is in strength now, right? It's
Okay.
the
Hmm.
deeper this goes, as not the way that quantum was, but this is basically saying, hey, the only way it stops, right, at any given time is that if we don't have new people going in the 859 people, right? So
Right.
new people at 859. Now, we've got the feeder program that's still going to have plenty of people in it once this compression happens.
Okay.
Um, so I think once we get the stories out there with people telling people that, hey, every day this is what's happening for me, I think it'll alleviate, and some people will come back that are leaving.
Correct.
But
Correct.
but I think you're right from the integrity standpoint. We need to protect everybody, and that's what Bankus really tries to do in the way they have it. That's why we don't see. I mean, it'd be nice if we just saw the partial email, then we know we got all our people under us.
Right.
But
Right.
but I agree. I agree with you. That's a great thing for me to add, and I will get that, because when they pull out the name, and they can add that as an extra. It's an easy thing to do. I mean, they could even do the blur thing. They can do it whichever they want. You definitely know you got your two, so you're good to go. But that was a great idea, Monique.
Thank you. Thank you. And you said we're eliminating groups now?
Yeah, but there's really no need for a group anymore. The way we
Okay.
got it, it's just if you have your two, well, you'll be considered a direct. You'll have your directs, right? If you
Correct.
get more than two, so this
Hmm.
is something that somebody brought up to me last night, is,
Hmm.
hey, if I have a second grid, so I'm just a good recruiter. And I said, yeah, then get a second grid, and then you tie two other ones to that. Because I
Okay.
think what I saw transpire, with this whole group thing, is I saw people grabbing people that
Yep.
I don't even know what happened, but all I
Correct.
know is it turned a community against each other on some of the calls.
Right. Right.
Like, oh
It
my
sure
God.
did. Yes, it did. It
I think
did.
our end goal for all of us is to have something that's sustainable, and yeah, it is the $1,000 the carrot that we need. I think it is. I think
I think
there's a
so.
lot of $100 programs, but $1,000, and you're seeing consistently four, 4,000 a week. That's going to drive people to want to bring hundreds of people in.
Right. And it changes some people's lives.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not complicated. It seems complicated because of all the gyrations of what we've done, but like I said from the beginning, my whole goal here was one thing and one thing only: make it easy for people to utilize USDT and in the decentralized world. And you decide how you want to deal with the funds that you have
Hmm.
coming in. But and then Dan's group with their 10 by 10 idea just made a lot of sense for us to tie the two together. But this, always wanted to be super simple for people, and it just got very, very
Correct.
complicated. And then that's, the whole thing
Complicated.
is, hey, if you don't want to be here, let us move those. And again, I hate when people use the word refund, that you didn't pay anything. Your funds are there. We're transferring them back to you. No different than if you had made $1,000. That was just a transfer back. It was never meant for people to feel like you're paying for something. The only thing you've ever paid for here is that $85 if you bought the bulk.
Banker's card.
Other than
Correct.
that, everything's been a transfer.
Correct.
You're transferring from one wallet to another wallet. or one app to another app, however, or one peer to peer if you did it with Zelle. So anyways, anything
Correct.
else, Monique?
Yes. Now, for those of us who are already in groups,
Yes.
how is this change going to affect us? And I have a group of 50, well, a list of 50 of people that I want to bring in. So when I bring those people in, are they connecting, like you said, I mean, I would have 50 different grids. Is that it? Or how would it
Yeah.
go?
So you got to think of the every when you become, and I think this is where I may have confused people, because I
Hmm.
was always looking at it from you get a grid and then you put two
Hmm.
people in it, right? But
Okay.
it's really the opposite way. So it's you become part of somebody's grid. There's no way for anybody to start a grid.
Okay.
The first grid was started by the AI, right?
Correct. Correct.
And in the beginning, one of my mistakes, not realizing that when you grouped it out the way that we grouped it out, is I had the AI create, I think it ended up being nine different people that wanted to go direct to the AI, right?
Hmm.
But all that did was confuse the AI because it was looking for the person that was position one or two.
Hmm.
So let's take at the top is the AI, right?
Hmm.
So it had two spots open. So one and two needed to be placed, which would then open up number three and number four.
Okay.
So a grid itself doesn't really there's grid numbers, right?
Right.
That's just so we can track in case there's a mistake. But it's really one and two.
Hmm.
But in order for you to get your grid, you have to come in with one of those two spots, right? For
Right.
one
Right.
and for two. So those two really, if I had explained it this way in the beginning, it might have made more sense to people. It's, hey, there's two people that are tied to you. Those two people are going to do two things. One of them is going to count toward your reentry, and the other one's going to either go to the pool or to your reward. That's really the logistics of what we have. It's two people are tied to you, and even though it looks like you have a grid, um,
Hmm.
you really just have two people that are sending you 1,000 each day. That's really what it
Okay.
comes down to.
Okay.
1,000 from each. One goes to your reentry, and the other one goes to either the pool or the payout. If you for
Okay.
simple words. So whether you bring in 50 or you bring in 100 people, I think the important thing now is understanding that if you're bringing them in,
Hmm.
that they understand that, hey, if I don't have two, right, that
Correct.
assigning to me,
Hmm.
I'm giving up my seventh reward, right?
Understood.
So
Yes.
if I bring 10 in and I only have one grid, I those
Hmm.
other eight I can they'll be when I decide I want to buy I want to come in again. Then I can
Hmm.
take three and four and tie them back to me rather than me just giving those away.
Away. Right.
Because
Right.
what our end goal is, we want everybody to bring their own two in sometime in their time here. Because if everybody
Right.
ends up with bringing their two in with the insurance
It's,
that we have from the
mhm.
from the first and the fifth,
Hmm.
that we're never ever gonna stop. So the we call it the line just gets stronger the
Stronger.
deeper it goes. It
Hmm.
just gets stronger and stronger the deeper it goes because it's that same domino effect. If it took us 2 months to drive down 1,000 people from where you're at, it's going to take 2 months for it to break. So if it took 2 months to get there, it'll take 2 months to break to where
Correct.
you won't be getting that $1,000 each and every day, right? So
Right.
it's it. it's a domino effect both ways. The deeper you are in, or the more time you're in, let's call it that, the
Mm-hmm.
stronger that's going to be because this isn't every 24 hours other than the weekend, 72 hours
Right.
a
Okay.
weekend. So the if at after 3 months you've been averaging the 4,000 a week, it would take 3 months for that 4,000 to go away, I guess is what I would say. So the longer we go, the longer it would take for the thousands to not be available for you to get every day.
Okay. Okay. Understood.
Well, but
Thank
the
you.
good questions and thanks for the feedback.
You're
That
welcome.
is number one on my list now to make sure I add that in today.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see. All right. Okay, Liz, you're up. Go ahead, Liz.
Hi, Grand Rise to everyone. Grand Rise Bill. Hope everything is great with you. I just want to, first of all, Nicola, she explained everything perfectly. So many things that I wanted to say, she has said it. So I
Okay.
just want to say, confirm that when I spoke to you last time, this was exactly what I was aiming at, that the 24 hours was restricting us to bring other people by you putting everyone under me, my new members that came under me,
Mhm.
it is exactly what you're doing right now. And I commend you on that. And I won't change a thing. I think it's perfectly how you're doing it. And it's going to, but I have a question though. If someone doesn't have, we're saying that if that person doesn't have their two or one, that they can wait until maybe down the line because we do have a large group that we plan to bring together. And that person will give up the seventh space, but when they do bring their two or the other person in to complete, then that seventh spot will not be taken away. They will only lose their one in the fifth. Am I correct?
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
100%. Yeah. As soon as, um, hey, my two, and again, because those, and based on what Monique had said, those two are your personals. So those you'll know, hey, here's my two are in now, and the box will go from um, not having two to having two, which would mean that seventh reward, every 7 days would now no longer go to the community pool. It would go to you, to that person, each and every time. So it'll be a simple change to the because we have two boxes right now, right? One of them is called, I think it's invited, uh, direct invite, I think it might be, and then the other one is just velocity line. So now anybody, as soon as two are connected to you, right? Then we switch it to inviter. So as long as you have your two, those two will have show up just like you have your ones that are in the main portal. We'll have them show up in that portal now, saying, "Hey, can't have more than two. You can have more than two, but you don't want to use them unless you open up another. If you decide to get in again with somebody else, or you come back in again, at that point you can then use two more for that. But you need a minimum of two to get rid of the seventh pool.
Mhm. Correct. Okay, I
Okay,
got it. Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you for your feedback. All right, next is Waldo. Um, hmm, where is this? I'm not seeing you on here for some reason. Okay, let me try it here. Maybe you can't. Maybe you had to go. But let me double check one more time. Nope. I don't see you on here at the moment. Okay. Does requesting to go into the grid apply to paid quantum reentry, first time quantum paying? Okay. So if you, here's what we have right now, minus the people that were sending their deposits back. So we have people that directly came into the bridge, paid 1,000, they came into the bridge. All right. Then we have the people that had not been paid yet through Quantum. Okay. They're now added into the bridge. That $1,000 that they would have got paid now is their entry, unless of course they ask for the transfer out, then those ones would be gone. Then the next would be if you're in the reentry, that means you've got paid already. Okay. So now, in order for us to move you from the quantum into the bridge, right? What has to happen is we have to continue down the path of the velocity that's there, with the difference being now, once we're caught up with all the ones that we just added, the difference being that you're not putting another 1,000 into the quantum because the quantum is now shut down, right? So what we're doing is we're taking a fake 1,000 each time to keep that moving forward. And then as your reentry hits, that means you didn't really earn 2,000, you only earned 1,000. That 1,000 then can bring you into the bridge. So that's the process on the reentry. Now, everybody else, whether you're in the former priority program, whether you paid 300, everybody else that did not have 1,000, because the only way this works is having the $1,000 for everybody. You then fall in line as these first and fifth uh, rewards go into the pool. We start drawing you into the program, into the bridge. So if you paid 300, we need to have 700 available. If you paid 500, we need to have 500 available, right? So that's how that works. So hopefully, Sharon, that answers your question. The $100 for priority starts from when? Once it gets programmed. So probably Monday is what I would probably say. Be on Monday. Um, we do everything on Discord. We don't do anything on WhatsApp. There is a group out there that you can join on WhatsApp, but again, we don't monitor. We don't do anything on WhatsApp. Everything we do is in Discord. Patricia, you don't, the only time your 15 credits are used are if you take those 15 credits and use them in the Velocity Bridge now. So you pay $100 or $60 today. Um, then you'd be using the credits. When the credits go away is if you come to the bridge, meaning we get to $1,000 with the velocity, and you come to the bridge before your payout date or payout number. So if your payout number was 18,050 and we're only at 9,000, we're going to automatically move you into the bridge as part of the feeder program. And then your 15 credits will as part of you lose that as part of moving, taking the accelerated path is what I've been calling it. Jay would like to comment. Okay, Jay, let me bring you on. Mhm. Oops, keep going. Wrong one. All right, there it is. Okay, go ahead, Jay. You can comment.
Good afternoon, Bill. How are you?
Good.
Great. I appreciated the commentary made by Liz and Nicola. Made a lot of sense. To pre-qualify the question that I'm about to ask, I'm trying to pick your brain a bit to try to figure out how the structure of the grids work and what they look like. So I'm trying to determine whether this is a closed loop system or the grids break off and go into different directions, how they're being filled by the AI, one per day. So could you explain how the grid structure actually works?
Again, no genealogy.
Hmm.
What happens below you strengthens your grid position, your position within
Hmm.
your grid. So the wherever your position is, the two positions below you, those are the ones that as long as they're getting $1,000 from the two below them each day, will drive that $1,000 to you each day, or the 2,000, because it'll come from both of them. So the longer we go, the stronger the chain becomes. So there is no break offs. There's nothing like that. There's it's just all you're focused on is, hey, I joined here, and when I see that I have two people in a grid, that means, or two half email addresses, or however the AI does it, that means I'm going to be able to follow the payout path going forward. If I have a day where I don't see a payout, right, that would mean that the chain had somebody who didn't have a left and a right? And it affected you at that point. So there's no way to call, hey, this could happen here, this could happen here, because it's a chain effect. So, like I said, if you've been paid for 2 months, it will take 2 months for you not to get paid. If you've been paid for a year, it'll take a year for you not to get paid.
Okay, got it.
So
Having
there's
said,
there's absolutely no breaks in the chain, unless it's at the end after you've had your first week in the grid. Put it that way.
okay,
Make it
got it.
think of it that way.
So essentially, it's pretty much now a funnel.
It's what?
It's pretty much a funnel structure.
Uh, I wouldn't call it that. Well, I mean, I guess you could say. I mean, I don't know if I'd use funnel, but it it is predicated on you lose the only thing you lose your seventh reward
Hmm.
if you don't have two people, and those two people don't need to be in the grid below you anymore, right? Those two people are just need to be in the community. So it's more of the reason why I would say it's not a funnel is here's the
Hmm.
reason. It's I don't know. It's better to explain it this way. New person comes in with $1,000, right? They go to the front of the line. In a funnel, everybody would go down, right?
Hmm.
All the people coming from the feeder program go in after the person that comes in with 1,000 that day. So feeder is second. The people coming in direct are first.
Hmm.
So, but that's why I wouldn't. If you want to call it a funnel, I guess you could in a sense, but doesn't that doesn't because a funnel goes one way, right?
Mhm.
You're going down. Here,
Yeah.
you go down, but it can come right back up if there's no activity. Um, so it's more of a chain effect.
Okay.
And if a link gets broken, right,
It's a domino effect back up.
it it can't happen in the middle. It has to happen at the bottom. So
Yeah.
the only way the chain breaks or a link breaks, right, is if we didn't make it to that link. So there is never going to be a break in the link until we start going back up. And then it's just pulling one of those links each time out. Every day, it's going to be, oh, there's no 1,000 here. So that means that now we're 2 days in. So the two people above, now there's no 1,000 to go up to them. And then it'll just keep deteriorating if, again, we just stop putting people in. The only way it stops is nobody comes in. But we've got a feeder program, and then we have people being able to come in direct. And we have the motivation to bring two in by saying, hey, you don't lose this seventh reward. I mean, I can make the motivation more and say you could lose two two rewards until you get your second one in. I mean, but um, I think one seems to be sufficient.
That was my thinking when I heard Nicola speaking. That persons who didn't bring in their two, well, in order to satisfy your goal of bringing in two, maybe you should be um, giving up your seventh and eighth reward that will qualify to bring two people in from the Velocity Bridge. But
Okay.
let's leave it for time being with what you just said.
Well,
Just
if you think about that, right? You'd have to think about it in a different. I think you think about that in a different way, right?
okay.
What we tried to do is eliminate the pressure of having to, right?
Yes.
We still want to reward people, right? So because we know we want people, because we know not every. Well, we know. I mean, even the facts are the facts. I mean, 70 of the original people that signed up, 75% don't have two. They have one or none, right? So,
Hmm.
but then we had these communities putting people under people, so we don't know the true number at the end of the day. So if you said that you want to motivate people, but at the same time protect the community, right? I guess what you could do is you could say, all right, we're gonna have we got the seventh, but because we want you to have your two, right? We're going to give you two from the feeder line, but in order to get those two from the feeder line, this is what it's going to cost you, right?
Hmm.
And but then that brings complications, so that's the reason why I think it's better to just say, hey, the motivation at the end of the day for anybody is to eventually have two that they bring into the community. And if you don't, you lose at least, well, you're losing the 7th, the 14th, the 21st, the 28th, right? Because it doesn't stop, right? You just keep losing it until so. But we could add 7th and 8th because then that would be two, and that might motivate people more. I don't know. What was
Yeah.
your
I, I,
thoughts on
I
that?
didn't I didn't want to open up that can of worms. I saw somebody comment in the group that we would have already given up our first and fifth, but that applies to everybody, even
Correct.
those who brought in their two. So it still brings it right back to those who haven't brought in their two, contributing two of their seventh gifts, whether it's the seventh or
Right.
the 14th or the seventh and the eighth reward.
Got it.
But that brings
Okay.
me back to the question of the structure. So those who have already gotten paid, who got in first, their grids have been paid out. They've gotten their rewards. Are they coming back in to feed those who are just getting in for the first time? Like they're feeding
No,
the
I
bottom?
mean, we never. So we're just. we're still trying to figure out where, the things that weren't working or the AI that wasn't working, right? So
Mhm.
no physical payments were ever made, right? So yeah, we'll restart when we restart. The people will come, be the same people that started, and then the new
Mhm.
people will always follow behind. But yeah, I mean,
Okay.
the people that are in right now that don't take their rewards back, and there's a bunch of people that are taking their transfers back, which is fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, nothing changes in the logic of, hey, you guys are here, you're already in place, so we're going to change that. That would just
Okay.
take longer for us to do. So once we see who we're pulling out, we'll refeed it in, and then it'll go exactly that way.
Okay. So it's a chain that's static. It isn't that the first 10 people after they've gotten their rewards, they go back under the feed, the 100th, 101, 102nd person. Everybody's in a structured, static position where it grows from the bottom that feeds the top.
Correct.
Okay. I
So
just
it's
wanted to make,
same two people,
uh-huh.
always same two positions, always follow you no matter what. Never that the only time that could change, right,
Hmm.
would be if somebody said, "Hey, I don't want to be here anymore." I don't know why someone would do that, and then requested to have an email change there. Now, maybe someone
Yeah.
makes too much money. They want, I don't know, but yeah, I mean it's static, 100% static.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Now, if you decide to leave it at the seven gift only, or if you decide to do something else, I don't want that to discourage anyone from doing what they need to do.
Right.
That I think that should
But
be
it's a
brought
good,
to
but it's a
group
good
vote.
discussion. I mean,
Yeah, it should
this
be
is an
brought to group
ideal
vote.
discussion. It's a good discussion.
Yeah, whatever the group votes on, that's what we go with.
Yeah, it's
But
a good
um,
discussion.
but I think if we continue to run into the problem where the velocity starts to decrease, because I noticed that you're now focusing on longevity and the insurance aspect where the priority bridge feeds the bridge program.
Mhm,
That's all well and good. But if it starts to break down and the velocity starts to decrease, um,
mhm.
should we consider measures to put into place to increase the velocity once that starts to happen? For example,
Yeah.
um, reinstate the seventh reward for those who brought in their two people to bring more people from the priority bridge and do that just occasionally if we see the velocity start to decrease so that we don't end back up to where we are right now.
So so yeah, if the let me think of the way that I know exactly what you're saying, but I think if we see that happening, right, we're gonna see it pretty quickly because what's gonna happen is it will be, well, doesn't matter what the number is, but it'll be a
Mm-hmm.
large number on day one of where it starts decreasing. Meaning, I think the better way to address this would be this way: is if on any given day we see that we're not filling the left, the one or two, at that point we say, okay, we got a problem, Houston, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that would be where we could come up with some solutions for that. I wrote that down because I think that will always tell us, because we know the newest person coming in, they're going first, and then we know what's going to be available. That at 9 o'clock, we're going to see that, oh hey, there's 80 people that didn't qualify today, and the chain started to break. So
Yes.
then we need to address that with a solution Which the easiest solution is always going to be um, to, again, if we have the bodies, is to speed up the bodies that are waiting in the velocity bridge, right?
Correct.
So we could easily say, hey, today's reward, we're going to be driving 100 people in or whatever that number is, something like that. But we'll hold that if we see that happening, where we just
Okay.
pull another reward, like what you're saying, whether it's the people that just brought none in, or it's the whole group at that point, where we need everybody to step up. If we see that,
Yeah.
I don't didn't see that based on the numbers, even with the number of people leaving, because I'm in that mind of once we have this working for a full 7 day period,
Hmm.
there's all kinds of people that have been waiting on the sideline to see if it works. So
Yes.
once it's working, that changes everything to where we don't have that that oh geez. And again, and switching the priority to where, hey, this is a feeder. You don't have 1,000, but you can secure yourself a spot for $100. And this is how that works versus, the way that we were doing it before.
Okay. Yeah, the reason why I put that out there, Bill, was because I've been noticing a pattern. The priority line started off real good. A whole lot of people got paid out, and then the velocity stalled. For example, if we use the magic number of 500, 500 people got paid out, so it started to break at 500, which means we would need 500 more people to fix that breakage for the velocity to continue. Then I
Correct.
noticed the same thing started to happen in the quantum.
Hmm.
Whatever number it broke at, we needed that amount of number to come back in to keep the quantity, the quantum program moving. So I think that mechanism, however you monitor it, once you see it start to slow down, if it's at the 500, we know, hey, we need a mechanism. We need to activate it to make sure that if we see that we're going to be breaking at the 500 mark or the 100 mark, then we need to bring in 100 people from the priority bridge program to
Got it.
begin to speed up the velocity.
You know what? That's a great point, because that we can simulate because we have the data.
Exactly. Because I don't want to be
Simulate the
back here again.
breaking. Yeah, simulate the breaking point. Man, I just gotta get. Okay. Yeah, that is a great suggestion there, because it's better to know now because we have the data that will tell us where the breaking point and breaking points have been up to this point. Even though this is different, it's really it's still it's still a numbers. No matter what, it's always numbers,
Yes.
right?
It's always the
It's
numbers.
always the numbers. Okay, I got it. That's good. I like that. I added that.
So that way we'll have a lot less unhappy
Yeah.
people. The program doesn't have to stop anymore.
Yes.
Your tech team, everybody will recognize when you see the indicators of the breakage, you flip that switch or whatever that mechanism is, the velocity increases, everybody goes back to normal, then everybody's gifts are then
Yep.
restored back to them when we see the mechanism starts to happen again. If it starts to happen again,
Right.
we
Yep.
activate the mechanism and then we bring everything back to normal again once we see everything is leveling off.
Yep. Okay. I like that. Anything else?
That's about it. I think what
Okay.
you're doing now is a great thing where you're talking to the community, you're getting feedback from persons, you're
Yes.
clarifying and basically simplifying how the program works so that once people start to get um, knowledgeable of the practicality of how it works, the technicality of how it works, then everybody's on the same page.
Correct.
I like that.
Yeah, we haven't done that in a while, and that's
Yeah.
part of my. After yesterday, I was like, I think today needs to be more of a not dealing with customer service thing, even though they're there, and I think they're doing a great job. I'm getting a lot of good feedback, so This I wanted to have a good conversation here with everybody.
Yeah. I don't know what motivates you, Bill, but keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great. More time for testing, though. I think there needs to be an allocated amount of time for testing
Yeah.
to make sure the logic is working before
Well,
everybody jumps back
yes,
in
and
and
that's
starts to break.
yeah, I'm with you on that, and that was my whole point of, hey, you need your funds back. Let us get your funds back to you, and then come back later,
Yeah.
because I I think that this model gyration it's taken us to get here. The reason it works and it can work for longevity is twofold. One, it's the same two that are sending it up, and I know another similar model that's worked for a long time within the decentralized world. Um, that's actually doing it a little bit, but it's close enough to what we're doing. But only 62% of the funds get paid out to the community. The rest goes to the ownership group, and I I like the way that they've done it, and they've been going almost 5 years. But the community is okay with giving up what they're giving up, and I don't want to be a company. I want to be a community where all the funds stay in that peer to peer, keep us decentralized, keep any regulatory bodies away from us. So,
Yeah.
all right,
Gotcha. Be encouraged, Bill. You're doing a great job.
all right, thank you. Okay.
All right.
Next, looks like Lady would like to speak. All right. Go ahead.
Hi, Bill. I just wanted to find out in terms of the new movement. I think it sounds great. How would in order that you don't have to have anyone attached to you? Well, if you have your tool, you can add them. But how we go forward in doing that? Will we be able to add the tool to someone that's there and the system app to, or how do you want to do that?
So I think what you're asking is how will it so if you have your two, right? There's gonna be a process for us to get you toggled to having your two, right? But in terms of once we do everything that needs to be done on the people that are pulling out, we will just replace the all the places that we need to replace before we load everybody back into the system. So right now everybody's on the outside of the system, other than our testing, all the things like if you may have ended up in one of our tests, you would see a grid back there, but that's not your real grid. So that will all transpire once that's done, that will all happen, and it'll most likely, right, happen in a very simple rollout. Once we find out exactly these changes that we're going to make, and then we say, okay, this is what's going to happen today. This is what's going to. So then our 11 o'clock call will be around. Okay, here's what happened. Do we have anything that didn't work the way it should have, right, on that day? And then the next day, the next batch, right? And just have it in a very controlled rollout, so that we don't have to, if we have to make an adjustment on the first day, we can easily do that after that 11 o'clock call. So that's I envision it that way. But I hope that answers your question. Nope. Did you get muted again? Yeah, you did. Go ahead, lady.
Yes, so yeah, kind of sort of. So in terms of we those that already we started already, we're in the system. we already went through the first day where we didn't receive the funds went back to the system.
Everybody's out of the
Are we
system.
starting back over?
Yes, we're not starting over. We're starting with the correct logic on the first day that we start.
So we'll go back to losing the first payment again,
You'll
or
go
we'll
to
keep the two.
what the logic is on that day. That'll be the logic of that day, and that we'll do some making sure that everything worked right on that day. So yeah, if you want to call it losing, yes, it's we're going back to, hey, and this is the reason why anybody that wants to transfer out, be my guest. Um, it needs to be done the right way for longevity. And right now, what transpired the 2 weeks ago, whenever that day was, um, those numbers weren't exactly right in terms of how that ended up coming out. So we need to get it 100% right from the first grid. Because remember, when we did that, we had 7 different grid. I think it was 8 actually, 8 different grids coming off the AI, and that was part of our logic problem. There should have only been one. It's called a seed grid. And I didn't know that based on the the button was there when the AI built it, and I thought you could have 8 different seed grids, but you can only have one. So all that is incorrect. So yeah, when we're live again, um, you it'll be the first day's logic, and then the second day's logic, the third day's logic, the fourth day, and the fifth day on that day. So now I think I've answered your question on that.
Yeah, you did. Okay. And when are we looking to
Okay.
even get this implemented going forward?
I, you know, like I said, I think when I started, we made a lot of headway yesterday. Again, with when I'm looking through all the different test grids, the biggest thing that I saw last night, with the testing, was that we still have people that are getting double
Okay.
paid. So if you happen to be one of our testers, you'll see today's date, the 21st, and you'll see 4 entries for the same grid. And that went away 2 days ago, and it filtered back today at 8:59 when we did it. So if I would call it, I would call that my goal would be that, um, on Friday morning when we're on the 11 o'clock call, I walk people through the steps that you need to do if there is anything, but there will be something that people are going to need to do, which is probably, if you have your two, getting your grid, getting your grid, marked that it has its two, because we don't want to have a seventh come out of people that do have their two. So that would be on the Friday call at 11. We would run through that piece, and then on Monday morning at 8:59, that would be the first. If everything works, I mean, like I said, there's 1 or 2 things. These little logic things that we talked about today are not the issue. Those are easy to change, like blocking the email and stuff like that. So that would be my thing. Would be Friday morning. We would do the 11, and I would tell people this is what you need to do, and then that would be after tomorrow, when pretty much I've asked people that do want to get the transfer out to get that done by tomorrow, so that we can make sure that all those people are out of the out of the reload, on Friday. So that would be my guess, lady, on that. Did you have anything else?
No, and that's it. That's
Thank you. All right. What else we got here? All right. Again, hey, if you're not happy, with the community, ask for your transfer. We appreciate you being here, and it's time for you to move on if you're not happy. Okay? Again, if you don't want to bring people in and you are here and you just, hey, request your transfer out. It's simple. We want everybody's, oh, we've always said everybody should bring people in, but we've always built things in to help us when people don't bring people in. Okay. So again, if it's not giving up rewards and what have you don't work for you, please take the transfer out. We're happy. We're more than happy. And again, I apologize from my side that I want something long and sustainable. I don't want something short-lived. And everything that we've been doing has just, you could see, as Jay mentioned earlier, the fall off happened just too fast, and it's never going to be sustainable. So, Rock, go ahead. You can have your comment. Go ahead, Rock.
Yeah, I was trying to unmute myself. Okay, now it's working. Yeah, good morning, afternoon, everybody. Yeah, what happened is, Ernie, for the bridge, right? She was trying to help me, and she did mention she had a conversation with you about it. I'm just curious to find out if you did work on my.
What is your email?
It's SANOZIER100 @gmail.com.
Hey, one of you guys, Rena or Paula, do you see him in the 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 tab for the working grid or working bridge? No, I don't know. Oh, maybe they can't speak. Hang on a minute. Let me go over here. All right, Rena, I muted. Did you guys hear that email and get a chance to look at that?
Hello, Bill. Yes, Bill, I'm trying to pull up this email. Is it okay that we can get it one more time? Sorry. Just want to make sure that I.
Hey, Rock, you can put it in the chat or you can try saying it to them one more time.
I'm driving, that's why.
Okay, yeah. Say it again. Then say it again.
S as in Sam, A as in Apple, N as in Nancy, O as in ozone, Z as in zebra, I as in ivory, E
Mhm.
as in Eden, R as in rocket, 100 @gmail.com.
Thank you. I got it.
Bill,
Yes.
I just want to confirm, is this the one that wanted to convert his express lot to the bridge? I
Yeah.
can remember this.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
right.
I think so. But is he? What I'm asking is, did because he was working with, I think, Michelle. Did he get added to the bridge, the tab that for the working bridge, or no?
Oh yeah, he's here.
Oh, he's there. Okay, okay, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're. We got you all situated, Rock.
Okay.
As long as you're in that's where you needed to be. So yeah, she definitely passed that information and we got you situated. So
So now when should I expect to see my thing to my bankers?
when should you see your in the
Yeah,
velocity or
the pay.
the pay? Oh, I as soon as we relaunch, which I was just been talking about on this call. So as soon as that happens, you're now in the thousand, you're in the bridge instead of priority. Uh, so once we're up and running, then the whole process will start. Um, you'll have to, the one thing that we just talked about, right? We need to know if you have two people. If you don't have two people, we need to know that. But not now, but once you get the new steps that you have to do, but you're in the bridge now. So once we relaunch it, then that's when the funds will start going to your bankers. And again, like I've told everybody, if you've had enough, please ask for the transfer out, and we just I'm with you. I mean, I'd be aggravated if I was on your side. I'm aggravated on my side, but at the same time, if we don't do it
When
right,
you ask for the transfer, how long is gonna take to
I've
get the
asked
money
everybody
back?
to have that in for Thursday. And then we'll start the process on Thursday of all the transfers.
All right. I think I'm gonna exit. So
That's fine. So fill out the
yeah,
transfer form. In the what are we at here? Are you in the where is that? The Discord group or no?
I don't know if I'm in Discord
You
group
don't know?
or whatever. Since I
Can you
sell it, they
can
can
you guys
just
put in
sell
the
it
bottom
back
of the
to me.
chat? Oh, you're driving. So, but just
Yeah, I'm just
you have to fill out the transfer form, okay? Because I that's the only way, and you got to so that we can track back, see where your payment was, do all the things we need to do. So I need, if you want to transfer out, again, I don't want to make it complicated for you, but we have to double check because we're pulling funds from Velocity, and we can't not do it the right way. So that's why the form needs to be filled out.
so that form. Can you put it there? I can copy it, and then that way I can
Yeah.
fill it out,
Okay.
please.
Can you put, can you guys put the form in the bottom there from for Rock at the bottom of the
Okay,
chat?
got it.
He's transferring out, so make sure it's the right one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rock. I appreciate
No
you, man.
problem.
Maybe you come back later, okay?
Yes, I will.
Okay. All right. Let everyone pay their first payment or pay it every week to sustain the company. Uh, okay. Again, if you have a founder slot, there's the form in Discord. Fill it out. Say you want to um, not wait in the I guess, yeah. Basically, you want to get in line for when the rewards are available, when the pool funds are available, rather than waiting until your slot would have been called in the current. We haven't compressed it yet, but you can move because you're either a founder, you've have 600 or more in priority slots. You can then get in that line. Um, and when those, whatever the difference is, so you need to leave 60 in your priority slot. So the 200 is what would be available. And then we would, when the pool has 800, when you get called, it will bring you in before we go back to pulling in people from the actual feeder program. Yes, you can still bring people in at 60. Yes. Thank you, Gloria. If you log in, you can see where your Oh, 2731. Yeah. So yeah, it's your priority slot is still there. That's your payout number. Nothing happens different with that. Other than as funds come available from the pool, it will move you faster than waiting till we get to 2,731. So that would be the again, re-entry would mean you were in the quantum, you got paid, and you got a re-entry slot. So if you were slot 50 and your re-entry slot is slot 750, that's what a re-entry is. All right. Shelley would like to speak. Let me pull you on here. Go ahead, Shelley.
Hi. Um, I just want to just be clear. So when we start over, will we be given our same two people unless like if we didn't bring in our own, and let's say the people that came in through AI wanted to transfer out, will we be given new people, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's gonna fill you up based on basically think of how it is right now. Everything which I keep referring to is now in a straight line. Um, and it will, once we figure out what's getting taken out, we'll re-enter everything and it will just fall left to right, left to right, left to right. So yes, you will probably have somebody different. If there were gaps right around you, if there were no gaps, then it'll be the same people. And again, nobody can go in to themselves. So if you have multiple, you definitely would be in two different spots at that time.
Okay. So when we start over, if we had someone, we would be given someone right away. We wouldn't have to wait.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So that what your thing on Friday would be, if or could happen before them, but is if you have two that were marking down that you're toggled as having a direct invitees, even though
Oh,
you won't see them directly under you, but they're direct invitees for that.
okay. And also, in your opinion, what would be the best way to do this? Um, would it be better to open multiple grids? I think for me, it would be easier just to continue straight down. That way it strengthens everybody going up, or what
Yeah,
do you
the
think?
multiple grids does strengthen the chain, so
Okay.
it doesn't matter where they're at if you have multiple. So, I mean, so it the every new every new position, so it's not even the grid, it's every new position is think of it like a link on a chain, right? And that just strengthens it the deeper it goes. And then same thing, if one day we stop doing anything, depending on how many payouts you had, that would basically over that same amount of time, it would each link would break, or you'd lose a link, you'd lose a link, you'd lose a link. So longevity is what will drive this to everybody always getting paid. And the best thing is, as we discussed yesterday, is the two getting people's mindset that hey, I don't need my two today, but I strengthen the community by eventually bringing in two to each
Okay.
of my. So if you have multiple grids, eventually you want to have two that are tied to those for two reasons. One, it's good for the community, But two, then you're not giving up that seventh reward every 7th, 14th, 21, so on and so forth.
Right. So I have my two, and I could keep building under that.
But you're really not building under anytime you bring a community member in now, if they
Mhm.
come direct, they're going to go left to the next spot, then they're going to go right. But it's
Yes.
just so you're not building under no one's building under themselves per se. Everybody is going straight down, even though when you look at your grid, you see two people. The reason why you see two people there is think of it more of a straight line now. And
Right.
wherever you're at, there's two people tied to you that you need those $2,000 every day to come in to you so that you can re-enter for the next day and the other thousand gets assigned to wherever it's going for that day versus
Right.
the looking at it as the even the grid at this point.
Okay. So each time that you come in, you would just put two new people
Yes.
under those and
Yep.
just keep it going that way.
Yeah. And then when you have two that are tied to each of your grids, right? It doesn't mean they're direct to your grid. It just means, hey, these two count so that I've done my part in the community. I brought two in, so I only give up that seventh. I no longer have to give up that seventh reward. I'm only giving up my fifth
Right.
every five.
Okay.
So that's
All right.
the way you got to. It's just it's a different way of looking at it, but it's a better way in your mind to just say, hey, it doesn't matter when I get my two, but if I get my two, it saves me on that seventh reward. And I'm not looking to build anything personally. I'm part of the community with
Right.
just everything goes in a straight line.
Right. So the people that you bring in, you help those, and so
Yeah.
it just keeps going that way. Right.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay. All right, we got time for a couple more here. What happens if you leave your phone? Nothing happens. Whatever that slot that it's slotted in at, it's going to pay out just like it always has. But remember, the payout now goes directly to opening up your bridge spot. So Carol Reese, my second slot email was needed to be changed from to, yeah. We did that for you, Carl. You guys, both those are on that. The Javelar, I know that's, yeah, they're both on there. Yeah, we did that. That's all set. Can you explain for all the $60 persons where how they fall in without? So when you come in the feeder program, you're everybody's grandfathered in right now at the 60. Okay. It's going to go to 100. Nothing changes for you guys. There's two things that can happen. One, you get to whatever your payout spot is, that $1,000 then opens your bridge up. Or number two, the funds that are in the pool accelerate you based on whatever your grid number is to come up faster into the bridge itself. So nothing at all changes other than we're going to compress out all the priority slots that are dead right now. Jason, good question. If people have more than two and they are bringing in, couldn't they put people 3, 4, and 5 under others in their grid, creating the strength and the grid? So If you have more than two, that's awesome, right? Think of it as whether it's 3, 4, 5, and 6, it doesn't matter from that standpoint. What strengthens the community is when they come in, that $1,000 that they're bringing in is at the bottom of the chain, right? And it pushes up for that day. Anybody that needed to be pushed up so that that $1,000 is available for the reentry and for the reward. So that's the important piece of what you're saying is absolutely right. It's just you just want to credit your twos to any grids that you have so that you get the credit so that you're not giving up that seventh reward. If you bring someone in and they're not in the feeder program yet, it would be 1,060 right now. After we shift to the feeder program being 1,000 and this or 100 and this being 1,000, at that point, it would shift that number, right, from 1,000 to 1,100. So instead of 1,060, it would be 1,100. But right now, it's still the same. Nothing's changed. All right. The rule was if you are in, you stay in once system works well. To move, transfer your position to someone else, family member, friend, person would have made a lot more than they would have transferred it in. Makes sense? No. My suggestion is the rules should stay. It's either you want to be here or you don't want to be here. It's as simple as that. We don't need to complicate it. Friday and Saturday are okay. I said Friday as kind of a starting point, but we'll see how things go today and tomorrow. Uh, if you transfer out, put the screenshot of what you paid. If you have not been paid, right, you will get whatever you put in. That's the transfer out, right? If you've been paid, that'll get deducted from whatever you're transferring out. All right. Again, if you're in Discord, just go under deposits. All the forms are in there. Yeah, I go through it right now. I'm on the share screen, right? You got bridge deposit submission, transfer deposit request, transfer deposit from priority to bridge, peer to peer for the dance programs. If you need, or if you just need USDT through the peer to peer system. Okay. All right, what else we got here? Yeah, it looks like people are answering questions. Again, just to clarify how the two works. If you have two people that are your two people, you brought two people in. Those two people would be who are your two people. You'll have their you'll be able to connect them to your account because they're the two people that you brought in, and those two will count in your grid. If you don't have two, over time, when you bring two in, you can add them in later on. Again, if you filled forms out, yes, we'll be working on them. Yes, we will be working on them as time goes. All right, so we're gonna close out here. I'll put the recording up. It's a good discussion, couple hours, and we'll continue working through the things that we talked about today. And we'll be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. I'll have some updates on what we talked about today in terms of making sure that I can get all that put into the logic, and then we'll keep moving forward. And then the people that are looking to transfer out, let's get those forms done, get them in for tomorrow so that we can start the process with the peer-to-peer, especially if you're not taking it through Bankus. We're going to be looking for people that we're going to be exchanging funds with. So um, that process will be something that we'll have to do starting tomorrow as well. But again, if you're taking it through Bankus, that's super simple. But everything else is be peer to peer. We just got to go through and make that process happen, and we'll go from there. But have a good rest of your day, and I will see you guys tomorrow.